I feel so happy with the people that I've met here. I feel that genuinely, I mean, the expats, no? The expats that you meet here that are going
We
through...
stick together.
Yeah, through similar situation. The level of empathy that you have with these people, the level of understanding, I think it's something that it's really difficult to get with the people that is in a place where they have been born and raised. So
It's different.
It's different.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Pod Abroad. My name is Paulina, and just for some context, I'm an American who has been living in Munich, Germany the last, almost 9 years, 8.5 years. And on this show, we will share some stories with my many international friends. I think it's very cool. I have a lot of friends from many different places. I feel so fortunate, and they all have different perspectives to show. So today we'll talk a little bit about food, work culture, differences, struggles in Germany in general, some stereotypes, and all that good stuff. So thanks for joining along. Today I am with my really good friend Paola.
Hello!
Woo-hoo.
Or hola, if I can say so.
Yeah, so just a little bit about Paola from my perspective. What can I say? Paola and I met at one of both of our former jobs. We no longer work there. We've moved on to another avenue in life, and that was like in the depths of the pandemic.
Yeah,
right?
I think it was 2021.
Crazy. Yeah.
But it was still when you needed to have like a vaccination certificate to go out, where you could meet just one people. Like,
crazy.
Yeah, I remember because we met at your old place.
Yeah.
And
during lockdown.
During lockdown, because we couldn't
go anywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, come over. You want to come over for dinner?
Yeah, and I discovered your exceptional cooking skills.
Aww,
yeah, your love language.
Yeah. It's crazy. Wow, that was like, it's going to be like almost 4 years later. Yeah. I had braces. That was a different time in life.
A different time in life.
Right?
Yeah.
Pre-jaw surgery. Paola is from Mexico City. She'll have, a lot to say about that, I'm sure. And has been living in Germany how many years?
5 years.
Ooh,
so
it flies.
Yeah, time flies 5 years. And yeah, still learning every day.
Love that. So in a nutshell, could you tell us what brought you to Germany, like in your experience, if you had to like to pitch yourself, like how did you start a life abroad and why from Mexico City to Munich?
Yeah, that's a very good question that I even ask myself, happen to ask myself many times, because I've never thought that I would end up in Germany, honestly. Like, if I think of myself when I was 25, I'd never say that I would want to live in Germany. Actually, I wanted to go to Australia, so
Ooh,
quite different.
What? I didn't know that.
Yes, I wanted to go to Australia, but in the end, for one and other reasons, like my goal, it was always to study a master's degree.
Yeah.
And back then I was working at a technology company where I was like taking a look at a lot of technology topics. And in the end, I had started to have a lot of questions about technology and like this, like all the things that we see now with AI, you know, like all these questionings about if it's good or not. I had them back then. And I discovered this master's degree at the Technical University of Munich, our alma mater here in Germany. And it, made all the sense. So I applied, and then from there, everything flew. And I think, it was really, really fast. 9 months later, I was already in Germany. And I was working at a German company in Mexico that brought me to Germany several times. So I think that, life was kind of, the universe was sending me some hints that I might end up in Germany. And I am here now.
I love that. Yeah. That's crazy. I can definitely relate with like it was never your dream necessarily. Yeah. Like people always like have asked me before, like, oh, was like moving to Germany your dream growing up? And I was like, I couldn't point to Germany like on a map as a kid. And no, this was not my dream. It just somehow, I mean, it became, I guess, the dream when you're here, and it's just like, oh, this is amazing. But it's not like this was always like the path. It just happened.
Yeah, it just happened. And I think you don't think of it as a country that might be like super glamorous in a sense of how other countries might be. I don't know, France with Paris.
Yeah, true.
Even for Mexicans, I don't know, Spain, Madrid, no, like London, this
Rome.
Yeah, Rome. Like you don't think about it as something glamorous,
No.
but I think once you visit Germany, you notice like everything that it has to offer in terms of quality of life. I mean, we can talk about this later, but there are a lot of things that you can really make the most of when you're here.
Yeah. I love that. So just transitioning like into the topic of work. So luckily you had work experience prior to your master's degree here. So like you studied in Mexico, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you worked for a few years, developed your career, and then chose to go back to university. And then now like you're working full time again.
Yeah.
So I think in that sense, you have this really cool perspective of work culture in Mexico full-time, work culture in Germany at big companies. It's something like I don't have. I never really like worked for an extended period in the US. So what are the big differences that you've noticed? How has life changed in that way?
Wow, it's a completely different world.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, I think in Mexico, the world culture, it's, I wouldn't say informal, but it's a bit more relaxed in the sense of hierarchies. Because, I mean, it really depends. If you're in a headquarter in Mexico, maybe you could notice a bit of like the hierarchies. But if you're here in a headquarter, it's really marked, like who is like the head, the vice president, the CEO, like it's really marked. And it's really there are differences, let's say like this. Also in Mexico, I think it's very normal to make friends at work. Like people you work with, your colleagues, eventually become your friends. And then you would end up going out with them and maybe having some after-work dinner, some after-work drinks. You would invite them to your birthday, to meet your family. So
to meet your family?
Yeah, no, like
that's
really.
like next level friend.
No,
that's
but
not just
true.
That's not just like surface level.
No.
It's like a real friend.
Exactly. Like some of my colleagues have met my friends from high school or from university. So I think that says everything, right? Like they become part of your life. Not everyone. I mean, it's obviously, but there is the option too. And here in Germany, I think there is more of a limit of my personal life and my professional life. Like everyone can be super nice and polite with you in the office. And of course, there will be some events just to network and to get to know your colleagues a bit more. But I feel that it's difficult to cross that boundary between being a colleague and a friend. Like, how is it for you, for instance, now that you are working here? Do you feel sometimes like something like that?
That's a good question. I think for me, so like when we used to work together, it was at a big company, over 100,000 employees. And I mean, our sector necessarily wasn't like a young one, right? So like in my department at my old company, there weren't so many young people versus like I'm now working at a startup that has like 30 employees, I think. And it's pretty young. So I noticed even like, but there's just massive differences between that. And a lot of people are friends, like a lot more than like in my previous position. Yeah. So I'd say it depends, of course, in my experience. But it was a lot harder, like at a big corporate company, to break that barrier and kind of. I always say like it's almost like dating. Like you have to make the first move, right?
Exactly. And
it's feels formal.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, we are the success story that colleagues can become friends, right? Because we met at work. Yeah. But you're right. I think maybe it takes more time. Like in the Latin culture, in the Mexican culture, everyone becomes friends really fast. Yeah. And I think here people are a bit more cautious on who to let in their lives. But yeah, and it also depends on the culture. But it's something that I have felt at the very beginning. It's not super easy just to become friends or have friends at work, if you can say it like that. Another big difference is the silence. And let's say...
of the office itself.
Yeah,
you're just honestly, like, oh shit,
that has been one of the major shocks because if you entered the office in Mexico, you would see people buzzing,
Yeah.
even laughing. Like there is noise,
Yeah.
like. And here, at least in the company I am in right now,
it's quiet.
It's very quiet. Like, of course, there's sometimes people talk, but in general, like people are super concentrated. And I think it also comes into productivity in the sense that if you're here to work in Germany. You're 8 to 5. Like you make your time count. And maybe in Mexico, we can take a little bit more time, even though I think that in Mexico we were, no, I think it's a fact. We work longer hours. Yeah, it's very common to stay overtime. But I think our idea of productivity is very different. You take more time to, just, let's say, go through the day, if it makes sense like that.
Yeah.
So
you take a longer break if you need to.
Exactly. You go for a walk, maybe you have a coffee. It's a bit different in that sense.
Crazy. Would you say that like international people or foreigners who are living here, such as, I mean, even yourself, like, are you adopting the German culture? Like, or are you like staying true to yourself and being like, I don't care, I'm just going to go be myself and like be warm and friendly and open? Or both? Like,
it's an in between. I think part of being here is to adapt and to be able to get like, just be able to, I wouldn't say camouflage, but also be part of how things are like here, without losing yourself in the process, obviously. But yeah, I think you cannot just think that you can just go and be yourself, like without any circumstances and consequences, just like that, because it's part of it to being adaptable, I think. But also part of it is like, hey, I'm gonna be myself. I'm gonna make conversation to people. Because that is your essence. That is your personality. So I think you need to, like honor that part of you that is still there, even though it's in a different environment.
Absolutely. No, I feel the same. It's like trying to find that balance, right? That's hard.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose yourself.
Like, for instance, how would you approach in the office, like your colleagues? Like, imagine going back to your first day.
Yeah.
How was for you just to approach and just to talk to them for the first time in a more social way rather than just professionally, like, send me your meeting or
social,
whatever?
It's hard. I'd say like during like lunch. I mean, first off, probably not during like the work hours. Like it's more like opening up during lunchtime and we're all sitting there. And then I'm just like completely myself. And sometimes I wonder if people are like, oh, like this girl's crazy. Like, why is she telling me about her mom that just moved to Spain? Or like, I don't need to know that. But yeah, I don't know. I open up probably more during lunch and like when I'm first meeting them. But I will say, it just came to my mind that like when I worked at a bigger company versus a smaller one, it was just it freaked me out at first how close everyone was at my small company. When I first got there, like so many of them were already friends outside of work. And they were like, hey, let's go do this. Let's go do this. And I was just like, oh, whoa. I was kind of like German. I was just like, oh.
You were carrying like the trauma from the past.
Yeah. Like you wanna be my friend outside of here. And they're like, yeah, we're all friends. And I was just like, okay. Yeah, okay. I don't know. Like it took me time. I was just like, okay, I'm safe here. Like people are kind, like, and they're chill. So for me, like it really,
it took time.
It took time.
Yeah. But now that you say, I think it's super cool, like being open and talking about your life.
Yeah.
Because I think you said kind of open, like this trust bubble, at least for a bit, instead of just staying like superficial topics or talking about the weather.
It's hard, right? That can only last for so long.
Yeah. So I think it's also nice being that person, I don't know, opening the possibility maybe of trusting each other, I think.
True. And maybe that enables others. They're like, okay, like, wow, she's talking about her mom and her family and the crazy things that are happening. Like maybe I can too a little.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it never, like people talking about their family never stresses me, or I don't know. It never like feels like, oh, like that's too much. Like I never feel like that. I'm just like, okay, like we're humans and there's only so much we can take of, how's the weather? oh, I had a good weekend. How was yours? Oh, I had a good weekend too. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like that can
Yeah.
only go so far. And eventually you have to just kind of, I don't know,
Shut down the
be yourself.
conversation. Something. Yeah.
Be yourself and like try to, I don't know, open up a little bit more.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the end, if someone doesn't do it, like,
That's up
it
to
will never
them.
happen, no? Like, I think. But I just remember, because I want to say this.
Yeah.
Another important thing that I find really funny also in Germany is when you celebrate birthdays in the
Oh
office.
my gosh. Yeah.
So maybe we should explain your audience what does this mean, because, well, I can explain how in Mexico works.
Yeah.
And then you can explain the German shock.
Let's do that.
So in Mexico, when it's your birthday in the office, typically people would, if you work in a big corporation and you have like a fixed place to sit, people would decorate it. It's extremely cheesy, but cute.
Yeah.
Would decorate it with balloons and with confetti and flowers. So it's a big show.
Yeah.
Actually, I think in every office there was someone in charge of decorating the places. Yeah. There was someone that had like this automatic thingy to fill the balloons.
Oh.
I would be there, like,
it was your job.
It was a proper job.
Yeah.
And your colleagues would get you like a cake, would sing Las Mañanitas for you.
No way.
Yeah,
they're singing.
yes,
That's
of course.
So sweet.
And they would invite not just your team, but the whole floor to your celebration. So in the end, you wouldn't, you would go to like celebrations from random people from, I don't know, the area, shalala.
Yeah.
That would be celebrating the birthday. But that was a good chance also to meet other colleagues at some point. But yeah, people bring you the cake.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, people bring you the
Same
cake.
in the US,
People
so in
pamper
Texas.
you. Like,
Yeah.
it's your birthday. So you have to feel like you are kind of appreciated in that sense. And then you can tell how it is in Germany.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll go halfway there. Well, first I'll say that Texas is the same. On your birthday, you are the star. Like, people treat you. I was working for 6 months, like briefly before moving to Germany. And on my birthday, I was only working there for 6 months. Like, I hadn't even been there that long. And they took me out to lunch, paid for it. Like, they all pitched in and gave me a backpack because they were like, you'll need this for Germany. And like, it's just a very open, giving culture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you're the princess, you're the queen.
Yeah.
And then my first ever birthday here in Germany, I was a working student. It was 2017. And my boss comes up to me and he's like, hey, it's your birthday next week. Like, bring a cake. And I laughed. I literally, exactly. I literally, like, I was 21 years old and I was just like, oh, yeah, cool. And then my colleague, like, whatever, 5 minutes later, like, pulled me aside and was like, oh no, he's serious. And I was like, no, he's serious. And I was like, oh, really? And I was like, okay, I guess. So then the next week comes. I make a whole, like, the whole night before, I made like a whole vegan cheesecake with raspberry sauce and everything.
I bet it was
homemade.
Really good.
I spent like hours on it, put it in the fridge overnight to set, bring it to the office, and like, I hand it to everyone. Like, it was work, right? And then one person actually told me, they were like, oh, like, thanks for the cake, like, but it was too sweet.
No.
Yes! They told me it was too sweet, which, like, I mean, was it too sweet? Maybe, but like, it was free. And it's my birthday.
It's my birthday.
Like, what? And she was German. She was.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, that literally, like, it felt like a slap. Like, I was just like, this is nuts. This is crazy.
This is crazy.
First off, you guys didn't even buy me a cake.
Yeah.
So, like, I spent hours making this cake with my own money on a little student salary. And then, like, you have the audacity to tell me, like, even though I gave this to you for free, that, like, my cake was too sweet. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, this German directness was like too much for me. I was like, was it true? I mean, it could have been. It's subjective. I'm from the US, like, we have a sweet tooth.
Yeah.
But I was just like, damn.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah, so that was
crazy.
like my first experience.
No, but I mean, that to me, it's still something that, even though I want to go full in the adaptation to Germany, like, I refuse to prepare or buy my own cake in my birthday.
Yeah.
Honestly, like
Someone's got to step up around you.
I'm
right?
sorry, but I prefer to have not like. But well, okay, that's
It
how
also
it works.
feels kind of embarrassing. I don't know. Like I'd rather have like nothing than like, oh, like I'm like forcing you guys to celebrate me.
Yeah, because then it's a bit weird. Because then how did you make the invitation?
Yeah.
Like, hey, come to my birthday. I
At
brought
work.
a cake at work. I don't know. It's just
It's the same when you leave a company too.
mhm.
They're like, okay, bring a cake. Like, okay. It's
Crazy.
it's kind of awkward.
It's kind of awkward. It's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
And the directness that you say, I mean, with time, you understand that it's not personal or anything. It's just the
No.
way
It's
that
just culture.
Yeah, that
Difference.
the country, like people work, and because they are really they like to verbalize a lot of things.
They're not gonna
rather than
they're not
being
gonna be too
personal.
nice. But I also grew up with a saying: if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all.
Same in Mexico.
So
It's like same in Mexico.
so there's got to be a balance, right?
Yeah.
On the topic of we were speaking about cake, birthday cake. So let's transition into food.
Yeah.
I have a few questions to start off with, and it's going to be like this or that. So you have to tell me
Okay.
like what you'd rather have. So we're going to kick it off. And I'm starting with this because, I mean, you're from like Mexico City, like the place for good food.
Yeah.
And now we're in Munich, which like, I mean, I don't know if I can even compare this to Mexico City. So food's very different, right? I wanted to kick off with these questions. So first one is, would you rather have warm churros with chocolate sauce or Apfelstrudel with vanilla sauce?
Oh my God. Warm churros. Yeah, with chocolate sauce.
Yeah, like no
Definitely.
question.
No question. I mean, I don't know. Well, I'm just thinking about the context. If you go for a hike and then you reach the Jute or the hut that is at the top of the mountain.
True.
Actually, I wouldn't like hot churros with chocolate.
True. Context matters.
Yeah,
right?
context matters. Like, honestly, I would go 100% for strudel or a Kaiserschmarrn. I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, but you know the chopped hot cake.
Yeah.
Sorry
in
for
Germany. Kaiserschmarrn.
But in general, taking out that specific situation, hot churros with warm chocolate.
Yeah. Great. So next question is, would you rather have a michelada or a classic German Helles?
Michelada.
Yeah? No question.
Yeah, no question. But
You want to explain to everyone what that is?
Yeah, so michelada, it really depends. We have a lot of variation, but michelada is basically beer. So it's, blonde beer, light beer. And, well, you can do it with dark beer as well. And you put in lime.
Mm-hmm.
So similar to a radler, I would say, but you can also prepare it with sauces. So depending on the sauces, the name of the michelada changes to michelada cubana, clamachela, when you add like a juice that is like an oyster juice. Sounds super weird, but I promise it's really tasty. And yeah, it's basically like, have you had like shrimp cocktail?
Yes.
So
when I
it's
was younger.
similar like that between that and a Bloody Mary
with clamato.
with beer. So it's for everyone to have like an idea in their minds. But it's really good. I mean, we are used to hot weather, like if you're at the beach and it's summer and you're with your friends, like a michelada is really a gift from heaven. So
I
it's
love
really
that.
good.
I love that.
But a Helles in the Oktoberfest, I wouldn't say, or in a beer garden, I wouldn't say no. So again, context matters.
Context matters.
And a funny story, can I tell you a story of when I took some German friends to try the michelada? I've tried with multiple German friends just to introduce them to the michelada with the hope that someday one of them, it will stick to one of them, but I will receive the same answer, the same, like, no success.
No way.
No, they feel it's like a gazpacho.
Oh.
And actually, it makes sense because it's like sauces,
salty, a little salty.
And they feel it's like a cold soup. So it's like a gazpacho. And I'm like, I think it just challenges a lot the concept that you
Yeah.
have for beer and the pride also that they
Yeah.
have for beer here. Like
True, because here they're such like purists.
yeah,
Like they just want simple instead of like all this added stuff,
exactly.
chili. Like maybe like their palates aren't refined enough.
Yeah,
They're not cultured.
I think
Their palates aren't cultured
yeah,
to like
yeah.
experience such a crazy like flavor combination.
And they need to be to explore more exotic dimensions.
Or maybe like you need to try it 3 times.
Yeah.
Right? Because the first time I can imagine it being like, oh, whoa, like what's happening? Why is it salty and spicy?
Yeah.
And sour from the lime.
It's
like,
a big contrast, right?
is.
Like a big contrast between like drinking your normal geles and including the sauces.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of, adaptation.
Yeah.
No?
Maybe it just takes some time. The next one is, I'm going to see if you're a menudo fan. Menudo or classic like German lentil soup?
Oosh. I must say lentil soup.
Ooh, so Germany won on this one.
won.
So are you a menudo hater?
Not hater, but I'm not.
Just not a lover?
Not a lover. Like, I wouldn't see myself, one day in my living room wishing I would have like a
hot bowl
of menudo.
Some people are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they crave it. It's like a good hangover soup, right?
Menudo, and you have also we have something, maybe it's also because of the area. I would say in Mexico City, we have more something that is birria. That is also very similar. You have the soup with the meat. And
the consomme.
The consomme. Exactly.
So that leads me to my next questions. Actually, speaking of birria, now we're going to do only Mexican food.
Okay.
Would you rather have tacos al pastor or birria tacos?
Tacos al pastor.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That was a quick
yeah,
one.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Because tacos al pastor is like home. Like in Mexico, every corner has a place like where you have the street tacos, where you have this trompo, that is where the meat is, the taquero cutting everything. So I think it's part of the folklore and the picture of the city. So maybe I think it's ingrained because it's like warmth in your heart somehow. So so tacos.
It's what you know.
Yeah, tacos.
Yeah. And now on the topic still of tacos, barbacoa or carnitas?
I know.
And you have to choose.
No, don't do that to me. You know why you cannot do that to me? Because when you go eat barbacoa, normally you eat barbacoa and carnitas. So from the very beginning, you're never used to differentiate one another. So it's like a combo.
Yeah.
No, but I would say, no, Pau, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. You dislike. I would say, just because of my momentum at this moment, like I think barbacoa.
Okay.
Oh, but with carnitas also, with chicharrón. I know. It is a tough one.
Yeah.
My family is gonna hate me.
They're gonna be sad.
It's gonna be sad.
But
okay. No, I think barbacoa.
Okay. And then last one, salsa verde or rojo? Like, and you have to only choose one for the rest of your life.
Verde.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But it might be the nostalgia that I have right now about salsa verde. Because here in Germany, it's not so easy to find like the green tomato that you prepare.
Tomatillo, right?
Tomatillo.
That makes me so sad.
Yeah.
I love it too.
You know what? Because when I was living in Mexico, I preferred salsa roja. I don't know if
because you don't know like what you're missing until it's gone.
Exactly. So chilaquiles and enchiladas, I always prefer like salsa roja, and you get them in Mexico. You get the chance to make both. So there is this like huevos that are huevos divorciados.
Ooh.
So divorced eggs. Sounds so weird.
I love the translation.
But it's a dish that has both salsa verde and salsa roja. Ooh. So half and half. So you get both. And then you get the mix that is like mixing Fanta and Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Like a weird mix. But yeah. Now verde, salsa verde. Because I miss it so much.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I do too. Deeply.
Yeah, you understand me.
Tomatillo, it's like you just don't find them here.
No. I think you can find them like in
Victualienmarkt in Munich.
Yeah, Victualienmarkt or these like Indian shops.
Okay.
I've heard. because I have a friend in Nuremberg who likes to prepare chilaquiles.
Yeah.
And he does that super, super well and from scratch. So I think he goes to like Indian stores, but I've
love
never
that.
ventured myself to those worlds.
We need to figure that out,
Yeah.
right? So it's still on the topic of food, coming from such a capital of food in Mexico, and like I mean, everybody knows how good Mexican food is. But even in Mexico City, I've never been, always wanted to. But I've heard that the street food is just insane and like just such like full of so much flavor. How do you go from being born and raised and like this being so normal to like moving to Germany? Like, how did you cope? How do you deal? What do you do here in Munich?
And you mean in terms of like
eating, just like how different your diet maybe looks like from what you were, the culture you were born and raised in, to moving here where you can't find tomatillos or salsa verde, or sometimes you can't really find like the same tacos that you grew up with.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be like extremely honest.
Please.
But I think I was not like I was not eating in the street a lot also in Mexico, like in the street food. But where I see the difference and when it was like super shocking was the variety of vegetables and fruits that you can find in the supermarket, and how like the quality. Like if you go to a supermarket in Mexico, you would see like mountains. If you go like in a specific day, that is where they just have like they just bring them from the, I don't know,
from
like,
the field.
From the field, yeah.
Avocados.
No, I'm gonna show you a picture one day, like a mountain of avocados, like a mountain.
And they're good.
And
they
good.
Taste
they
good.
are ripe, so you can eat it the same day.
Yeah.
So avocados has been a big shock because you go here to any supermarket and they are stones.
It's a gamble also.
It's a gamble. Or when you think it's already ripe, you open it and it's like, no. So it's a gamble, and it's really, really like a day of luck the day you get like a ripe avocado. But I think it's sad. I mean, also, well, in terms of Mexican food, obviously the concept of Mexican food here is quite different. It's more Tex-Mex,
seriously,
as you know. So it's
it's so funny because they say authentic Mexican, and it's burritos.
It's burritos.
Like what?
These burritos
with sour cream and like cheddar cheese.
Yeah. So in the end, it's customized to the audience.
Yeah.
Because also I don't think that real Mexican food, like these real dishes, traditional ones, would be super popular in here. Like tacos, I think they could make it, but like thinking about a mole or something that it's a bit more complex in terms of taste, I think it's it would be complicated for
the Germans aren't ready
Germans to
they're not ready.
They're not ready for that yet.
That, yeah.
Maybe we need to make them ready somehow. But yeah, I think in the end, also Mexican food, I must say I became super defensive of Mexican food here, seeing all these stereotypes that they have about Mexican food, like relating Mexican food with Tex-Mex, with burritos. I have taken very seriously my role of like saying what it is and what not, because it's part of our culture.
Absolutely.
Like food is part of our culture. It's a heritage cultural like icon in that sense. And it's kind of talking about the roots. So I also like to explain my friends from Germany and from other countries what is it and what is not Mexican food, and also let them enjoy it, because I have a lot of German friends that love burritos, and I'm like, you go and have your burrito. It's totally fine.
But just know.
Yeah.
But just know.
But did you know that? You know, footnotes?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love that. You've even educated me. I feel like ever since meeting you also, instead of being like, I think I used to say like, oh yeah, I grew up eating Mexican food, but like, I grew up eating Tex-Mex.
No, but you have always had like a good idea of Mexican food.
A blend. Yeah. But now I'm like careful. I'm extra careful. Like with you and with Alvaro and my friend Joss, like who's from San Luis Potosi, I ask always, I'm like, okay, I grew up with this. Like, is this Tex-Mex? Is this Mex? Because where I'm from, sometimes they just call it Mexican food.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say.
It's hard to say. But no, I would say, I mean, honestly, whenever I have eaten with you,
Yeah.
you have everything just on point. And I think the day that I was surprised for like extremely good, it was when you took out your tortillero.
Yes.
So it's amazing. Like the tortillero is where you keep the tortillas. It's like a mini basket, we
Yeah.
would say.
You keep them warm.
Yeah, to keep them warm. And Pau had one, super nice. So I think that can say that you are super authentic.
I try. And I don't know if you saw, but oh no, you're not on Instagram anymore. For New Year's Eve, I made for the first time ever in my life, like alone. Well, okay, no, it wasn't alone. What am I trying to say? For the first time ever without my grandma's guidance, my mom was here and she helped. And our friends, we made tamales.
Tamales?
From scratch.
Really?
Like from scratch.
And how was the experience?
I mean,
I haven't made tamales from scratch,
girl,
so you are one step ahead of me.
Girl, it was a whole day affair.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like it was... But I mean, in the end, it was amazing. It was so good. They were so good.
I can imagine.
So delicious. Like Tim and I were just eating tamales for like the next 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt so proud.
Of
but man,
course.
some Mexican food is just, it's not easy.
No.
It takes time, patience, flavors, like, yeah, developing.
It's a craft because if you think tamales, maybe we can explain in the end, is like you have your dough, you have a filling, and then a filling, not a feeling, a feeling. I always have a problem with that word.
Some beans, some meat.
Some beans, meat, really depends on what you like. And then you first you need to wrap them in a leaf. It can be a banana leaf or a corn leaf, and then you cook them. But it's an art. And even when I think about tamales and about like the art of eating tamales, it's like getting them out of unfolding the leaf, eating them, putting the leaf out. So it's like a ritual. Like no, it's nice. Tamales are a very good thing to try and also to cook at some point.
It was an experience. It was a challenge. But I'd do it again. We
can do it together. Then you teach me because I have no idea how to do them.
It's just kind of like, I mean, you would probably never make them yourself because you can probably get them so like delicious tamales where you're from, like for not so expensive. Similar, like maybe Germans aren't making pretzels at home, right? Like you can go and get good pretzels at a bakery.
Yeah.
So like, why would you, I guess, spend so many hours? Yeah.
And you know that in Mexico we have something that is called torta de tamal.
So
in Mexico, specific, I would say Mexico City, because I am not 100% sure that this is in every state. But you have like the person that sells the tamales is called the tamalero. And that person has their own bike with their huge, I would say like a huge pot where they have the tamales. So it's a bike with a pot.
A pot.
Like wow. Yeah, like a container. I would say it's not a pot. It's like a huge container.
Yeah.
And they have the tamales. And then next to that, you have a bag with bolillos, which is, how can I say it? It's like a...
little rolls.
Yeah,
bread.
Rolls is bread. And, I mean, you can order just the tamales, but the typical thing is to have a torta. So you open the bread, you put a tamal inside. Yes.
Damn. It's like double carbs.
It's double carbs.
Double delicious.
But it's actually really good.
Really?
Because you know that tamales are like swaggy, like very soft.
Yeah.
And then you get the crunchiness of the bolillo.
Ooh.
I think you should try it one day, but it's...
what is it called?
Torta de tamal.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do you put also like some salsa inside or no?
I haven't done it. I mean, I guess you can do it, but I haven't done it. But yeah. It's really good. And it's a thing because it's there in every corner. And then you also have the atole, which is this also maicena drink.
Yeah.
So
Love
it's
that.
a lot of carbs. But it's to start good your morning, with full energy.
I love this food topic. We're going to eat soon, I promise, after this episode. But moving on to another segment, I want to talk about stereotypes. And I just wanted to bring up, the question of like when you first moved here, or I guess even now, are you ever faced like with someone maybe assuming something of you, or like thinking that like, oh, Mexico is like this, or Mexicans are like this, and how much truth is there to that? And how, like, yeah, have you experienced that?
Yeah, I mean, I cannot say honestly. I think people in Germany have a very good image of what's Mexico in general. I wouldn't say that anyone told me like, yeah, Mexico, sombrero, like, no,
Okay.
never.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Dude, the Germans are better than Americans.
They also never told me like, yeah, burritos. Maybe when the situation comes of being in a Mexican restaurant, people eating burritos and telling you that they ate Mexican food, that is a shock. But I think, and this can happen with not just with Germans in general, I think because of all this content, this series about narcos and about violence, and now that there are all these topics around, I think, yes, there is a stereotype of Mexico being insecure. There is a stereotype of what they listen or watch or read in the news. Because obviously we receive, and now I can tell, I mean, being a communicator and being really close to the media in general when I was living in Mexico, I won't say that I'm super close to the media now because obviously it's in German and sometimes it's difficult for me to understand the whole situation and context. But yeah, we in Germany, we do receive always the very bad news.
That's true.
Yeah, so
only the good, the worst stuff, and never the good stuff. Right?
So people in the end, when they know about Mexico, it's like, oh, first reaction I would say is super positive, like, oh, that's super nice, but is it dangerous? And then you have to explain that, yeah, I mean, there is a serious problem in Mexico.
Yeah.
But as every, I would say, Latin American country, you need to know where to go, where not to go, when, what to avoid, basically, to stay safe. Because you cannot be naive, like in Germany, that nothing happens.
It's not a problem that I think Germans are normally faced with.
Exactly.
Right.
So you cannot be naive and go with this idea of having I mean, you can be here with your bag almost open and no one's going to steal.
Especially in Munich. Munich's so safe.
Especially in Munich. And no one will steal anything. You cannot go with that naiveness to Mexico, right? So, of course, it's speaking up front, that's that thing. But stereotypes, I would say, as not the people that I've met, I have never faced that situation of, ay, sombrero. Well, Speedy Gonzalez sometimes. Because you know what? Yeah. You know what is so fun? Speedy Gonzalez, and I didn't know that until a friend from Germany explained me the whole situation.
Yeah.
Speedy Gonzalez was featured as Mexican, the fastest mouse, I don't know, in like songs for kids. So Speedy Gonzalez was a character in songs for kids, for German kids, like in German.
What?
I'm going to show it to you one day. It's
what?
Like, Speedy, the schnellest mouse.
What?
I swear.
And it was a little Mexican mouse.
Yeah, it's Speedy Gonzalez.
Yeah,
and
but in Germany.
In German.
That's so funny.
So, of course, they have this idea of Speedy Gonzalez, but other than that, no.
That's cute.
No,
but that's like I don't know, all in good fun.
Yeah.
That's like nothing like offensive.
Yeah, nothing
right?
offensive. No.
Leave that for the Americans. Oh my gosh. Like, I feel like in some sense, then, like, I feel like Germans, these are all personal feelings. My own beliefs. The Germans are just like overall a bit more cultured sometimes than like the average German versus like the average US American.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's several, that's a general blanket statement. And there's several factors that go into that. But I feel like Germans are pretty good, right?
Yeah. And I think it's part of what we were saying, that they take a bit of time to have this trust with you. So maybe at the beginning they don't push certain limits. No. So I think that is why they might be more cautious when they comment or say something about your culture in the end, no?
Which is good.
Right?
We shouldn't just like jump to like these blanket statements and like upon meeting someone for the first time that can like seriously like be offensive.
Yeah, and I think it's something that also in Latin culture we could adopt more, because in Latin culture, now that making the balance, we really jump into like, we can become friends with a person that we met, the same night.
I feel like the same in Texas.
Yeah.
Like you met at the grocery store and it's like, oh, it's my friend.
Yeah, exactly. And,
Yeah.
and I think it's super nice to have this ability to socialize fast. But you can also see like sometimes in Mexico that people get, I don't know, like in this trust really fast.
Yeah.
And they, Mexicans love to make fun of things, like jokes and everything. And they start to go into that area really, really fast. And I think here people just take their time to, calibrate.
Yeah.
Until when or how or, yeah.
I would say like, in that sense, neither is wrong or right. Like, it's just like, yeah, it's not that Mexicans are wrong for jumping into friendships fast and Germans are right for taking it slow. Like, they're both right in their own sense.
Agree. It's whatever makes also sense with your personality.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you can also be like someone super open that really get jokes super fast and also super sarcastic, and into that you will never take it personally. So
yeah, it's just a feeling.
It's a matter of personality. But something interesting just to compare and just to analyze once you are here.
I love that. So you've been here now for almost 5 years, you said?
Yes.
5 years. That's a long time, right?
That's a long time.
Half a decade.
You 8.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, a little over 8.
A little over 8.
In this past 5 years, I mean, several of which were during like COVID here in Munich, what have been your biggest learnings? And like lessons, let's talk lessons learned.
Oh my
here
God.
in Germany as a foreigner, as a Mexicana.
We're getting serious with the topics.
What are the first things that just like pop into your mind when you think, oh my gosh, like life in Germany?
Wow. I think life in Germany brings you down to earth a lot. Like,
it humbles you.
It humbles you a lot.
Yeah.
No? So starting from the language.
Yeah.
I think when you're in your home country and you can speak the language and communicate, solve problems, everything with your mother tongue, you really lose like the view of how complex life can be. Like now here with the language, even, I don't know, I'm thinking about when I was trying to set up my modem with the last time that I moved.
Like internet, something so simple and in your home country.
Exactly. Right? And also because someone would go and help you set up the modem in most of the cases in Mexico.
Yeah.
And here it was like someone by phone telling me what to do. And it was a very nice German that he didn't speak English, so we have to just manage.
But he was being nice about it?
He was very nice. I mean, he was very speaking slow, and I told him, like, spreche Deutsch nicht so gut.
Yeah.
And he was super, super nice. But it humbles you. It humbles you on what it is to be an adult, and to gain perspective also of that nothing is a small thing, like in life, no? And that also, even celebrate these small wins. I remember when I was learning German, and because honestly, I came here with 0 German. I mean, you can ask my mom.
Me too.
And like, how is it? Like going to the supermarket the first time.
God. Like terrifying? Absolutely terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. Because at some point you're like, oh my God, I just need to trust my visual intuition of what you see in the package.
Makes you want to cry.
Yeah.
Makes me want to cry. Like,
so I think it also brings you down like to celebrate these small wins. Like when you remember the first time everything started to make sense around you with the German.
Yeah.
And that it was like, I unblocked a level here, you
Absolutely.
know? So celebrate that small wins, being more down to earth, just to appreciate more everything around you. Obviously, the relationship with my family, I think that since I came to Germany, it became even more stronger, strong in that sense. Because with the time that you are apart, I mean, you get to see your family once, twice a year. If they live on the other side of the world. You appreciate them even more.
Absolutely.
And focus on what really matters in that sense. And I don't know, just being patient.
Yeah.
You know that when I was in Mexico, I was
Life is fast.
Yeah, life is fast, and you were I think I was used to do things really, yeah, fast and without like stopping to think and to reflect.
Yeah.
And here with all the things that happened to you, no, since setting up the modem until like trying to fight someone at the bakery,
Yeah.
or going to the KBR to file
Oh,
your stuff, or going to rent like the apartment viewing when
oh
you
my
are renting an
gosh.
apartment. All these things make you like feel patient because things move slower here if you're a foreigner.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's not like you will be in the top two for getting an apartment. You're need to queue for getting your visa renewed. So I think that's also important. And so good things take time, and this patience in the end helps you with multiple dimensions of your life. So mhm,
I love to hear it.
yeah.
With all that being said, and like the challenges of being in Germany, do you ever like genuinely just think about moving back and what life would be like?
Yeah. Oof. Not at the moment, honestly. Obviously, I miss my family. I think they would be the main reason I would consider going back.
Yeah.
But I was talking about this with a friend the other day. I feel so happy with the people that I've met here. I feel that genuinely, I mean, the expats, no, the
Yeah.
expats that you meet here that are going
We stick
through,
together.
yeah, through similar situation, the level of empathy that you have with these people, the level of understanding, I think it's something that it's really difficult to get with the people that is in a place where they have been born and raised.
It's
So
different.
it's different, right? Like I love my friends in Mexico. They are
Yeah.
amazing. They are great. But I think at this point where I have been out of that community for so long, when I have been through different things that only people be living here understand, I think that my crew is here,
Oh man,
and
I
that
love
all,
to hear
yeah,
that.
and that all these connections
Yeah.
motivate me, and yeah, and I wouldn't change that for for that simple.
Yeah.
Of course, there are times also that you think about, I don't know, professionally, the opportunities, the
Yeah.
professional opportunities that you have here. If you don't speak the language, maybe the opportunities in the
Career
market,
development.
yeah, might not be like the same as if you could. But I mean, in the end, I think there's a solution with for everything if you really prepare and have persistence and resistance and resilience and all these words with
Yeah.
R,
Yeah.
and you made it happen. But no, I wouldn't consider it. I miss the weather.
Yeah.
I miss my family.
Mm.
I miss sometimes my life there, but also I like living here and the freedom that you have, that you can go outside and walk and go to supermarkets and have this street life, if we can say it like
Yeah,
that.
it
No?
is.
Or how do you feel about it? Because it's a very different rhythm of
It
life, no?
is. Like whenever I go back to Texas, I simply miss walking. Like just
Mm-hmm. Walking.
walking. Like it sounds so silly, like just so simple.
Yeah.
I miss it. It is a street life. Like being like living a active life, and like for here it's not even being active, it's just day to day
Yeah.
business. It's not like you're sporty if you're walking places. We just walk places.
Exactly.
And it's normal, and I love that about here.
Yeah. And now what about nature? Because I think
Yeah.
that for you, it has been like a great discovery. I
Yeah. The
mean,
nature here is
Pao
insane.
and team are my heroes in terms of nature. Like they are always the ones that drag me into the wild. And I'm really
Yeah.
grateful because you always have like the best plans. But for me, honestly, we in Mexico, when you grow up in a city that is so big and that you move like with a car and that is not super safe, your leisure time is mostly in city
Indoors.
spaces.
Yeah.
So there is not really a relationship that you develop with nature the
Yeah.
way you can develop it if you live here. So I think that has also been super interesting and a good
I
learning.
can completely
No,
relate.
like to reassess the compenetration of like nature and your
Yeah.
lifestyle. No,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can completely agree. I grew up in cities also in Texas where you don't go out so much. Not at like the scale of like what Germans do here in Munich. Like we have the German Alps not far from us. We have an incredible city, like a river running through the city. And yeah, there's just so many opportunities for that.
Yeah,
which I
I
can
remember.
appreciate.
I remember when you took me to Tegernsee.
Yeah.
I think it was one of my first hikes, and that feeling when you are like at the top of the mountain. Well, at the end of the hike, I wouldn't say it maybe top of the mountains because there are higher mountains, but that feeling of freedom, and when you see that just like the whole horizon there, that is like a never-ending horizon of mountains. It's just
doesn't get old.
Yeah, doesn't get old.
Yeah,
it's really, really amazing.
I want to wrap up with a few quick hot or not questions. So in this little round, I want you to tell me if it's hot or not, whether you agree with it or like absolutely not. Hot
or no.
Hot or not.
Okay.
First one is Ruhezeit in Germany, which is like being quiet after 10 p.m. and on Sundays. Hot or not?
No.
I mean, you're like, absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
But well, after 10 p.m., sometimes in where I used to live, it was the whole day on Sundays.
Yeah.
It is like that, no?
Yeah. Technically,
unless I lived like fooled all my German life so far.
Technically, like you shouldn't be like vacuuming on a Sunday.
But that's the thing. Then when you do it.
Like when? I know. Okay.
So no.
Next one is Spargelzeit, which is like for German asparagus, hot or not. Like there's a season in Germany, right? That like all of your colleagues are like, oh my gosh, the asparagus.
Hot.
Yeah? You're into it?
I love asparagus.
Ooh, yeah. Even the white one?
Even the white one.
Ooh.
I love the asparagus soup.
Ooh.
But, I mean, sometimes it's just funny how that is managed. That the whole supermarket also has even like this peeling asparagus machine.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, they are super into that. But I like it.
Yeah.
Also because, I don't know, like it's like pumpkin season.
Yeah.
That you have the pumpkin soup in every restaurant. So
Germans' commitment to punctuality. Being on time, hot or not?
Oh my god. In between.
Somewhere in between.
I become a bit like that for some occasions, but no, I think punctuality is a sign of respect, honestly. I mean, not being like having a buffer of 5 minutes it's fine. But I would say hot. Yeah.
Cool. And then the last one that we'll kick it off with is German police officers. Hot or not, Paola?
Super, super hot. 100%. There is a joke that in order to become a German police officer, you would need you would have been some years to have completed a model career.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
We'd love to hear it.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think, I agree. I think German
100%.
police, even
the
here,
Polizei.
I think my boyfriend would agree that German police officers are hot.
The Polizei.
They're just, I can't explain it. It's not the same in the US. It's not the same in Texas.
It's not the same in Mexico either.
Oof, there's just something about German police officers.
Yeah. I guess. So all our friends need to come and experience that.
Yeah. But don't get in trouble.
No. One day I already got fined by the police. Like really. No. Yeah.
See? Yeah. You gotta be on your best behavior.
For not using the safety bell.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was in the back of the car, but it was like a commute of 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And we got fined.
Damn. It can happen.
Yeah, it can happen. So yeah, I mean the Polizei.
Yeah.
They are nicer the way they look than the way
they act.
they find.
Paola, thank you so much for such a fun episode.
Thank you, Pao. It has been great being with you, and the best of luck for this amazing project.
Thanks so much. And thank you all for listening. And make sure to stay tuned for the next episode. Yeah, we'll see you then. Ciao. The Pod Abroad's video, audio, and music is produced and edited by Tim Teherne. Make sure to give us a follow and leave a comment if you like this episode.